The nerve of that video, cutting me off like that. How rude. Okay, so as I was saying, it's much easier to write it as a coefficient of -1/2 because then my little brain's not so confused. And so then I'm just going to do each term power down. So I did 4 times -1/2, which gives me the -2. Decrease the power by 1. Then I went to the next term. 3 times 3 is 9. That was powering down and decrease the power by 1. And then on the last one, remember this is really a power of 1. So 1 times -2 is -2. And now it's x to the 0. Psst, you don't need to write x to the 0. So my final answer is this. Okay, so number 8, I'm going to use that constant multiple rule because I have a 2 out in front. So really, it's going to be 2 and then the derivative with respect to x, of course, of sine of x. But I bet you're all shouting at me right now that I know what this is. Pick me, pick me, pick me. I know this, Torres. And it is cosine of x. So y prime is going to be 2 times cosine x. Oh my gosh, you guys are so smart. So on the next one, I have a sum, so I can just do each piece separately. And of course, remember this has an exponent of 1 and a coefficient of 1. So when I power down, I get 1 times 1, which is 1. And then I have x to the 0. Stop writing that. I told you you don't need to write those. Plus, remember the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So I could just write it as 1 minus sine of x instead of plus a negative. Oh my gosh, so simple. Now on number 10, when I see find the equation of blah 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 line, I think point slope form. It's my favorite form. So in order to do that, of course, I need a point and a slope. Well, I can find my slope by taking the first derivative. So I'm going to do f prime of x, that's first derivative. Oh my gosh, look at this. So simple, right? Single term, power down. So I'll have 16x cubed. So that's the slope of any tangent. I need the slope at x equals 3. So I'm going to plug in 3. And I'll get 16 times 3 cubed. So 16 times 9 is 144. Whew, man, that was a steep slope. And so now I have the slope. Ooh, I wanted that, remember? And I also need a point. Well, I have half a point, but I could find the whole point if I simply plug in 3 into the original function, because the original function is what generates the points. And so I'll have 4 times 3 to the 4th, or 4 times 81. Good grief, who made up these numbers? Which is 324. So now I have the point 3 and 324. So I can write my equation. And in my favorite form, it will look like y minus 324 equals 144, that's my slope, times x minus 3. Except for the really large numbers, that wasn't too bad. Did you catch the mistake? So yeah, I cannot do multiplication, not even 3 cubed in my head, which is really 27, and 27 times 16 is not 144, it's 432. Oopsies. Brandon, did you catch that? So really, this should be 432. And oh, by the way, if you want to be an overachiever, of course you can, shoot, I can't even do that. I'm not overachieving. But I could turn it into standard form if I distribute, not standard form, but mx plus b form, slope-intercept form, if I distribute, move the 324 over. But who wants to do that? I already screwed up on multiplication.